What if there's only one type of person who can break through an avoidance walls and create the lifelong bond they've been running from their entire life? The characteristics of this rare individual might surprise you, and understanding them could change everything you thought you knew about avoidant attachment. Someone who mirrors their emotional self sufficiency without competing. Avoidant individuals can only form lasting bonds with partners who demonstrate complete emotional autonomy while remaining mysteriously immune to the competitive dynamics that usually arise between two self sufficient people. This rare individual possesses their own robust internal world, thriving independently without requiring constant emotional validation or reassurance. Yet they somehow avoid triggering the avoidant's territorial instincts about emotional space and autonomy. Their nervous system operates from genuine security rather than defensive independence, creating a qualitatively different energy that the avoidant's hypervigilant threat detection system recognizes as safe. This person's emotional self sufficiency doesn't stem from wounds or protection mechanisms, but from authentic wholeness and secure attachment patterns developed through healthy relationships and personal growth. Their independence feels effortless and natural rather than rigid or defensive, allowing the avoidant to witness what healthy autonomy actually looks like without the underlying fear and hypervigilance that characterizes their own self protection strategies. The avoidance nervous system relaxes around this person because their autonomy doesn't carry the threat of abandonment or engulfment that other relationship styles present. Their emotional self sufficiency manifests as genuine contentment with their own company, rich internal resources for self soothing and fulfillment, and the ability to maintain their sense of self regardless of their partner's emotional state or behavior. This creates a paradoxical dynamic where the avoidant feels simultaneously respected in their need for space and mysteriously drawn towards someone who doesn't seem to need them for emotional regulation. The absence of neediness or emotional demands allows the avoidance guard to lower incrementally without triggering their flight response. The secure individual's emotional autonomy serves as a mirror that reflects the avoidant's own potential for healthy independence, showing them that self sufficiency doesn't have to be rooted in fear or isolation. Their presence demonstrates that two emotionally complete people can choose to share their lives without losing themselves, creating a relationship model that appeals to the avoidant's deepest desires while respecting their fundamental fears about emotional fusion and loss of identity. Someone who responds to their withdrawal with curiosity instead of pursuit. The person capable of forming lifelong bonds with avoidance possesses the extraordinary ability to respond to emotional withdrawal with genuine curiosity rather than anxiety, pursuit, or defensive counter withdrawal. Their nervous system remains regulated and secure when faced with their partner's need for space, interpreting distance as information about their partner's internal state, rather than as rejection or threat to the relationship. This response pattern completely disrupts the avoidant's familiar pursue withdraw cycle, creating space for genuine connection to emerge organically. Their curiosity emerges from authentic interest in their partner's inner world rather than anxiety about the relationship's stability, allowing them to ask questions and seek understanding without the desperate energy that typically accompanies such inquiries. The avoidant individual experiences this curiosity as respect for their autonomy rather than intrusion into their private emotional space, making them more likely to share genuine insights about their internal experience. This person's ability to remain emotionally available while respecting boundaries creates safety for the avoidant to explore vulnerability at their own pace. The secure partner's curiosity extends to their own reactions and patterns, demonstrating emotional intelligence and self awareness that the avoidant finds both attractive and reassuring. They don't take their partner's withdrawal personally because they understand that attachment behaviors often stem from historical patterns rather than current relationship dynamics. This mature perspective allows them to remain compassionate and connected even when their partner's behavior might trigger insecurity or hurt in less secure individuals. Their curious response to withdrawal actually makes the avoidant more likely to share their internal experience voluntarily, as they feel seen and understood rather than judged or pressured. The avoidance nervous system begins to associate their withdrawal patterns with acceptance and understanding rather than conflict and pursuit, gradually reducing the intensity of their defensive responses. This person's curiosity becomes a healing balm that soothes the avoidant's hypervigilant nervous system while encouraging authentic communication. Someone who offers consistent presence without emotional intensity. Avoidants form lifelong bonds only with individuals who can provide unwavering emotional consistency without the overwhelming intensity that triggers their flight response. This person maintains steady, reliable availability while respecting the avoidant's need to regulate their own emotional exposure and involvement. Their presence feels like a calm harbor rather than a stormy sea, offering predictable safety that allows the avoidance nervous system to gradually trust in the relationship's stability without fear of sudden emotional demands or dramatic shifts. Their emotional consistency manifests as a steady baseline of warmth and availability that doesn't fluctuate based on their partner's behavior or their own emotional states. The avoidant individual can count on this person to remain fundamentally the same, regardless of external circumstances, creating the emotional predictability their nervous system requires to feel safe enough for genuine attachment. This consistency extends to their communication patterns, conflict resolution styles, and daily interactions, providing the avoidant with evidence that this relationship won't suddenly become chaotic or overwhelming. The secure partner's presence lacks the urgency and intensity that characterizes anxious attachment, allowing the avoidant to approach connection at their own pace without feeling rushed or pressured. Their love feels patient and enduring rather than desperate or demanding, creating space for the avoidant to gradually increase their emotional investment without fear of being consumed or overwhelmed. This person's ability to love consistently without losing themselves provides a template for the kind of relationship the avoidant can sustainably maintain. Their consistent presence serves as a corrective emotional experience that challenges the avoidant's core beliefs about relationships being unpredictable, demanding, or suffocating. The avoidance nervous system begins to associate partnership with stability and peace rather than chaos and overwhelm, gradually rewiring their attachment circuitry to accommodate genuine intimacy. This person's steady availability becomes the foundation upon which the avoidant can slowly build trust and vulnerability. Someone who validates their need for autonomy while modeling healthy interdependence. The rare individual capable of lifelong bonding with avoidance understands that true intimacy requires honoring both autonomy and connection, demonstrating through their own behavior how these seemingly opposing needs can coexist harmoniously. They validate the avoidance need for independence not as a character flaw or relationship limitation, but as a legitimate aspect of their personality that deserves respect and accommodation. This validation allows the avoidant to maintain their sense of self while gradually exploring deeper levels of connection and interdependence. Their approach to interdependence feels organic and mutual, rather than one-sided or demanding, showing the avoidant that healthy relationships involve give and take, rather than constant emotional labor or sacrifice of autonomy. They demonstrate how two independent people can enhance each other's lives while maintaining their individual identities, interests, and internal emotional resources. This modeling provides the avoidant with evidence that partnership doesn't necessarily mean loss of self or drowning in another person's emotional needs. The secure partner's validation of autonomy extends to recognizing and celebrating their partner's independent achievements, personal growth, and individual relationships without jealousy or possessiveness. They understand that the avoidant's need for space and independence actually strengthens their capacity for genuine connection when they choose to engage. This person's ability to find joy in their partner's autonomy rather than threat demonstrates emotional security that the avoidant finds both attractive and reassuring. Their modeling of healthy interdependence shows the avoidant what balanced relationships actually look like, challenging their all or nothing thinking about independence versus connection. The avoidant begins to understand that they can maintain their autonomy while also enjoying the benefits of partnership, mutual support, and shared experiences. This person's example provides a roadmap for the kind of relationship the avoidant can embrace without losing themselves. Someone who possesses unshakable internal security that doesn't require external validation. Avoidants form lasting bonds only with individuals whose sense of self and worth remain stable, regardless of their partner's behavior, emotional availability, or relationship dynamics. This person's internal security stems from deep self knowledge, personal fulfillment, and emotional resources that don't depend on their romantic relationship for validation or completeness. Their nervous system operates from genuine abundance rather than scarcity, making them immune to the emotional manipulation tactics that avoidants unconsciously employ to maintain control and distance. Their unshakable security manifests as genuine self love and acceptance that doesn't fluctuate based on external circumstances or other people's opinions and behaviors. The avoidant individual cannot destabilize this person through their typical patterns of withdrawal, emotional unavailability, or push pull dynamics because their partner's sense of self remains constant regardless of relationship turbulence. This immunity to manipulation creates a dynamic where the avoidant's defensive strategies become unnecessary and gradually lose their power. The secure partner's internal stability provides a safe space for the avoidant to explore their own vulnerabilities and insecurities without fear of overwhelming or destabilizing their partner. They can share their fears, doubts, and emotional struggles without worrying that their partner will become anxious, codependent, or lose their sense of self. This emotional safety becomes crucial for the avoidant's gradual development of trust and intimacy, as they need to know their partner can handle their authentic emotional expression. Their security extends to their ability to maintain perspective during relationship challenges, viewing conflicts and difficulties as temporary obstacles rather than threats to the relationship's survival or their own worth. This mature approach to relationship dynamics helps the avoidant develop confidence that their partnership can survive their worst moments and deepest fears. The secure partner's unwavering internal foundation provides the stability the avoidant needs to risk genuine vulnerability and long-term commitment. Someone who creates safety through patient understanding, rather than passionate pursuit. The individual capable of lifelong bonding with avoidance understands that true safety comes through patient acceptance and deep understanding, rather than intense romantic pursuit or emotional pressure. Their approach to love feels healing rather than activating, creating an environment where the avoidance nervous system can gradually downregulate and trust in the relationship's safety. This person's patience stems from genuine acceptance of their partner's attachment style rather than hope that they can change or fix their avoidant patterns. And their understanding extends to recognizing the historical origins of their partner's avoidant behaviors, viewing these patterns with compassion rather than judgment or frustration. They educate themselves about attachment theory and trauma responses, developing empathy for the childhood experiences that created their partner's defensive strategies. This knowledge allows them to respond to avoidant behaviors with understanding rather than taking them personally or reacting defensively. The secure partners patient approach includes accepting that intimacy and trust will develop slowly, celebrating small steps toward vulnerability rather than demanding dramatic changes or immediate emotional availability. They understand that the avoidance healing happens in their own timing and cannot be rushed without triggering deeper defensive responses. This patience creates space for organic growth and genuine transformation rather than forced compliance or surface level changes. Their commitment to patient understanding demonstrates to the avoidant that love doesn't always come with timelines, demands, or conditions that feel impossible to meet. The avoidant begins to trust that this person will remain consistently caring and available regardless of how long their emotional development takes. This unconditional patience becomes the foundation for the avoidant's gradual healing and their eventual willingness to risk the vulnerability that lifelong